Final modifier is another interesting term of the Java programming language. First of all, we will see what is the meaning behind the word final. Final indicates that no further alteration can be done. Means no alteration is allowed. Final means final. There is no any chance to modify it. Now see, all the methods and variables can be overridden in the subclasses. We all know that overriding is nothing but A is a base class, B is a subclass. Then all the methods and classes variables can be overridden in this subclass. If you want to prevent the members of the superclass from being overridden in the subclasses, then declare them as the final. Okay. Now, it is a right of a subclass to override the variables and methods of the base class. Okay. A is a superclass and B is a subclass. By programming laws, it is allowable to subclass to override the methods and variables of the superclass. But the class A doesn't want to share any data with B or doesn't want to override itself methods or variables. Then one solution is that use final keyword before the variables or methods. When you apply final before any variable or a method, then it is a final. It cannot be changed by anyone in the future. Now see, first of all we will see as final can be applicable to the variables and methods. We will see which are the final variables. Variables of a class can be declared as a final, indicating that the value of that particular variable cannot be changed. For example, you have declared integer type x as a variable. Then, what is a final? Use the keyword final before that keywords is known as a final variables. But there is a one restriction while applying the final keyword with the variables that local variables cannot be declared as a final variables. Means this rule is only applicable to the global variables. For example, you are writing any method like void dim, okay, and this is the body part of this function method. Then it is the local part of the methods of the variables of that method. Then if you are writing like final integer p, then it is illegal, it is not allowed to declare the local variables as a final. Now, as the variables can be a final, methods can also be a final mechanism. How? Methods can be declared final and that are indicating that they cannot be overridden in the subclasses. Means if you want to avoid the overriding of a base class function in the derived class, then simply mention it as a final variable, final method. It ensures that the functionality defined in this method will never be altered in any way. Means for example, you have written the function like void display. Then only use the keyword final before it and write the body part of it. As the methods can be final, the classes can also be have a final mechanism. How a classes can be final? Simply write the final keyword before the class name. Means for example, final class A. So classes can be declared as a final to ensure the security. The classes can be declared as a final if instance or superclass are not to be created. That means the class that shouldn't be subclassed can be declared as final. For example, if you are creating the hierarchy like class A and class B extends class A, then in such case the class declaring final is not allowed because it is inherited by the another class. Some predefined final classes are string buffer, math, vector, hash table, thread, socket, and etc. Means that are having their own specific meaning. No any mechanism to declare it as a altering mechanism. Now we will try to write one program that will demonstrate us the use of the final modifier. For that, we will create one header file, that is import java.io.start. Then we will create one class. For example, class test. In that, we will create one variable, that is the float type pi. We all know that pi is a having specific value, for example 3.40. Now, if we want this variable to be having a fixed value, not to be altered by another variable or another methods, then we will simply make it as a final. So I will make it as a final float pi equals to 3.40. But if I want to make it static, means it is again having the specific reserving mechanism, means its value will be changed but carried from one method to another method. So I can write here the static also. If I want to make it as a public, then I can also write public static float pi equals to 3.40. Now I will create one variable, that is private type integer r. Means I am taking a radius and calculating the circumference and area of a circle. So it is private integer r. Now I will create one method, that is public void accept radius, to accept a radius from a user. We all know that to accept any value from a user, we have to create a buffer reader class. Now, what is it? Buffer reader type br equals to new buffer reader in bracket new input string reader in bracket system dot in. Okay. Now we will simply pass a message to user, that is system dot out dot println. Enter the radius, and now we will create a radius by regular mechanism, that we will firstly accept it in a string and then pass it to the integer. And now r equals to, it is a parsing mechanism, integer dot pass int in bracket s. Now we will complete this function, but it may happen that there can be some chances of error. So we will place it in a try and catch the exception, that is exception type E, and we are only making it as a empty for the completing the try mechanism. Now we are completing here the main function, that is a public void accept radius. Now we have to create two methods. First is the circumference calculating and second is the area done. So first of all, I will create the circumference method, and it is a like a regular mechanism. Here I am creating one variable, that is the float type c, that is the circumference having the value of the circular circumference, that is nothing but a 2 pi r. In this case, note here that the variable created in the class, that is the static final float type pi having the value 3.14. It is not going to be altered, and we will simply here write the output, that is the circumference, and that is for example C. Now we will complete the circumference. Now we will calculate the area, that is public void area. Simply area is what? For example, float type A equals to pi r square, means r into r. Simply print it, system.out.println area is, and we will complete it. Now what is the final mechanism remain? That is create the main function, that is the public static void main in bracket string A. Now simply create the object of this class, that is the test type t equals to new test. Okay. Now only call the all the methods which we have created. Means for example, first was accept radius, then second was circumference calculation, and last one is the area calculation. We simply complete the main class, main function, and complete the main class. So this is the demonstration of how to use a final keyword while creating any program. Thank you so much.